I disagree with the motion this House would arrange students in classroom based on their intelligence and academic performance rather on their age. The fact of the matter is that some students learn more quickly than others and some students need more individualized attention. In order to accommodate the differing needs of their students, many schools started to adopt a tracking system, separating students by academic ability into different groups for a certain subject or for all subjects. This type of program is sometimes called ability grouping, and it is a hotly debated issue in public schools. What is tracking ability grouping? Also referred to a pacing or streaming, tracking is a system in which students are divided into classes based on their overall achievement. Students are ranked as being average, normal, or below average, and they are divided into classes with students of the same achievement level. Tracking has been used in American public schools for nearly a century, and it has changed and developed a great deal during that time. In the early years, tracking was a response to growing numbers of immigrant children coming into the public schools system. The goal was to provide those children with an education that was catered on their limited understanding of the English language and their limited preparation as compared to native students. What ended up happening, however, was a form of internal segregation within the American public school system. Today, tracking in American public school is less strict in most cases, and it is often used just for certain subjects or classes. Not for the entire educational system, many secondary schools use the concept of tracking to provide different levels of difficulty for certain courses, dividing students into basics, honors, and college preparation groups. Some schools use a variation of tracking called ability grouping, which is less formal and less permanent than tracking. Ability groups are formed within individual classroom and they never last longer than a year. They are also assigned by the teacher, not by the school system, according to the particular subject or for individual lesson. For example, during a math lesson, the teacher might divide the students into ability groups based on their who needs to review basic facts before addressing the assignment and those who are ready for a more challenging assignment. The disadvantage of tracking. Though tracking systems have many potential benefits, there are also some drawbacks to consider. For example, it is not uncommon for tracking system to encourage a sort of segregation within the school system. It has been found that many low-track classes are comprised of minority and low-income students, while the upper tracks tend to be dominated by students who come from higher socioeconomic standing. During the 1980s, Jenny Oaks brought to light a theory that many low-income and minority students were placed in lower tracks even when it wasn't a reflection of their academic abilities. She addressed the issue of industrial schooling, suggesting that the upper-class students received more educational opportunities while lower-income students were funneled into vocational programs and given limited educational opportunities. Another potential disadvantage of the tracking system is that by dividing students into a group by their academic ability, the educational system may cause the students to self-label themselves as inferior to upper track students. This leads to a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy as the student experience lower self-esteem through this separation, which in turn can lead to reduced academic performance. There is also the fact that many students who enter ability groups or tracking system end up staying there throughout the course of their academic career. Their abilities are not always re-evaluate between grades to determine whether a change needs to be made. Some detractors from the tracking system also suggest that teachers of low achieving students have lower expectation of their students, and they do not provide the challenge and the drive needed to push these through students to improve themselves. Cons of academic tracking. Tracking can lead to inaccurate stereotypes being placed on students and may affect what teachers expect from certain individuals. Teacher expectation and assumption vary according to track level and discourage student growth. Tracking leads to an unequal educational experience. Students on the high and of tracking receive curriculum that challenge them to think creatively, while students in the lower tracks are often taught with curriculum that emphasize obedience and acceptance. Students in lower tracks may also be discouraged from taking advanced courses by teachers or guidance counselor. It is important to note that the Brown v. Board of Educational decision established that separate but equal was impossible. Any established separation would inherently lead to unequal instruction. Tracking affects students' perception of themselves and can impact their behavior in a negative manner. Many feel students in tracking are being groomed by class into their appropriate roles in society versus allowing them to choose their growth own path. Opponents argue that tracking is used to instill class values and role society. However, tracking can also be challenging for the teacher, particularly in terms of managing classroom dynamics. Teacher may face more behavior issues in lower tracks, as students may feel discouraged or disengaged from learning.